You think your pantry is safe. Rows of gleaming cans ready when you need them. But what if I told you that some of those innocent-looking tins are ticking time bombs, loaded with chemicals that make lab rats look healthy, preservatives that could pickle your organs, and bacteria that laugh at expiration dates? Adults over 50 are walking into a nutritional minefield every time they reach for the can opener. Today, we're exposing 8 can nightmares that belong in the trash, not your stomach, plus 2 miracle cans that actually fight aging instead of accelerating it. Let's dive into the dark side of your convenience foods. Number 8. Canned hot dogs, the sausage scandal. Picture this. You're staring at a can of hot dogs, and they're staring back. Those pale, bloated tubes floating in murky liquid like specimens in a mad scientist's lab. That's not brine. That's a chemical cocktail that would make a chemistry professor weep. Here's what nobody tells you about these cylindrical nightmares. Each serving contains enough sodium to turn your kidneys into salt licks. We're talking 800 to 1,200 milligrams per tiny can. That's more salt than your ancestors consumed in a week. For anyone over 45, especially those juggling blood pressure medications, it's like playing Russian roulette with your cardiovascular system. But salt is just the opening act. The real horror show starts with the preservatives. Sodium nitrite keeps these things pink and appetizing. But here's the cruel joke. It converts to nitrosamines in your stomach. The same compounds that make scientists label processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen. That's the same category as asbestos and tobacco. Bon appetit. And let's talk about that mysterious gel coating each dog. Food technologists call it aspic, but it's really just liquefied animal parts mixed with stabilizers and emulsifiers. Ever wonder why canned heart dogs have the texture of rubber erasers? Thank the carrageenan and xanthan gum binding everything together like edible concrete. The can itself isn't innocent either. Most are lined with polymers that can leach endocrine disruptors when heated. Store these babies in a hot garage during summer, and you're essentially slow-cooking hormone chaos into every bite. Here's the kicker. Botulism loves low-acid environments, and processed meat products are prime real estate. When that seal fails, you won't smell the danger coming. One bad can, and you're looking at paralysis that starts with blurred vision and ends with respiratory failure. Skip the science experiment. If you need protein in a pinch, grab a hard-boiled egg or some nuts. Your arteries will thank you, and you won't need a hazmat suit to open lunch. One concerned user in r/Costco Canada put it straight. They contain nitrates, which are proved to cause colon cancer, amongst other issues. It's ultra-processed food without any real nutritional value. As an occasional treat, it's okay, but definitely don't make it a habit. When even budget-conscious shoppers are warning about cancer risks, maybe it's time to find a new protein source.
Number 7. Canned mushrooms, the fungus among us. Crack open a can of mushrooms, and what greets you? The unmistakable aroma of wet basement. That earthy, moldy smell isn't rustic charm. It's your first warning that something's not right in fungi land. Here's the dirty secret about canned mushrooms. They're grown in some pretty questionable conditions. We're talking about mushroom farms where the growing medium is often composted manure and agricultural waste. That's fine for fresh mushrooms that get washed, but canned versions? They get chopped, processed, and sealed with whatever microscopic hitchhikers came along for the ride. The real problem is heavy metal concentration. Mushrooms are nature's vacuum cleaners. They absorb everything from the soil, including cadmium, lead, and mercury. Fresh mushrooms at least get sorted and cleaned. Canned mushrooms get processed in bulk, meaning the contaminated ones get mixed right in with the clean ones. Studies show that processed mushrooms can contain up to 3 times the heavy metal levels of fresh varieties. For seniors whose bodies don't eliminate toxins as efficiently, that's a one-way ticket to cognitive decline and kidney stress. But wait, it gets worse. Ever notice how canned mushrooms have that slimy gray appearance? That's not just from processing, it's from the sulfur dioxide preservatives that prevent browning. Sulfites can trigger severe reactions in sensitive individuals, especially older adults with compromised immune systems. We're talking about breathing difficulties that can land you in the ER. And here's the plot twist nobody mentions. Mushrooms are naturally high in purines. When your kidneys are already working overtime from aging or medication, those purines convert to uric acid. Hello, gout attacks and kidney stones. The sodium content alone should make you pause. Most canned mushroom brands pack 400 to 600 milligrams per serving. And who eats just one serving? Pile that onto pizza or pasta, and you've blown your daily salt budget before dinner even starts. Fresh or frozen mushrooms give you all the umami flavor without the metallic aftertaste of preservation chemicals. Your taste buds and your organs will notice the difference immediately. One disgusted home cook in Reddit didn't mince words. Canned mushrooms are some of the most disgusting, slimy, limp slugs encased in tin or glass that I have ever come across. Everything about them is revolting, from the texture to the smell to the taste. What could possibly be the reason to pour canned slime onto perfectly good steaks when you could just fry up some fresh mushrooms? When experienced cooks are calling them slimy slugs, that tells you everything about what's really in that can.
Number 6. Canned coconut milk, the tropical trap. Coconut milk in a can seems like a healthy choice, exotic, creamy, and perfect for curries. But that innocent white liquid is hiding some seriously dark secrets that could turn your tropical dreams into metabolic nightmares. First up, BPA Central. Coconut milk's high-fat content makes it particularly good at extracting chemicals from can linings. We're not talking trace amounts here. Studies have found BPA levels in canned coconut milk up to 5 times higher than other canned foods. For anyone concerned about hormone disruption, and if you're over 50, you should be, this is a red flag the size of a palm tree. But BPA is just the beginning. Many brands add guar gum as a stabilizer, and here's where things get intestinal. Guar gum can cause severe digestive distress, especially in older adults whose gut bacteria have become less diverse with age. We're talking about bloating so severe it mimics appendicitis and digestive chaos that can last for days. The saturated fat content is another silent killer. 1 cup contains about 50 grams of saturated fat. That's more than double the American Heart Association's daily recommendation in a single serving. For seniors managing cholesterol or heart disease, it's like drinking liquid arterial plaque. Here's the kicker that most people miss. Canned coconut milk often contains sulfites as preservatives. These aren't just allergen triggers. They can interfere with vitamin B1 absorption. Older adults are already at risk for thiamine deficiency, which leads to memory problems and neurological issues. Add sulfite-laden coconut milk to the mix, and you're accelerating cognitive decline with every curry night. And let's address the elephant in the room, or should I say the bacteria in the can. Coconut milk's pH hovers around 6.1 to 7.0, which puts it in the danger zone for pathogen growth if processing temperatures aren't perfect. Unlike acidic foods that naturally resist contamination, coconut milk needs aggressive sterilization to stay safe. The solution? Carton versions or making your own from dried coconut. You'll skip the BPA, control the additives, and save your digestive system from chemical warfare. One horrified baker in Reddit learned this lesson the hard way. I know what you'll say. Coconut milk usually splits, just blend it. The difference is that there's no cream rising to the top, no water, just grade jelly floating in oil. I made the grave mistake of blending and using it. I baked laxative muffins, extremely potent laxative muffins. When your baking ingredients are accidentally creating digestive disasters, it's time to question what's really in that can.
Number 5. Canned chicken, the protein pretender. Pop open a can of chicken, and what slides out isn't poultry. It's a beige, stringy mass that looks like it was processed in a blender and tastes like salted cardboard. That rubbery texture isn't just unappetizing. It's a warning sign that this protein has been through processing hell. Here's what they don't advertise. Canned chicken is often made from mechanically separated poultry, which sounds fancy until you realize it means bones, cartilage, and connective tissue are ground up together, then separated using high-pressure systems. What's left is protein paste mixed with additives to make it look like actual meat. The sodium content alone should send you running. Most canned chicken contains 300 to 500 milligrams of sodium per serving, but here's the cruel joke. The serving size is ridiculously small. Eat what most people would consider a normal portion, and you're looking at 800 to 1,000 milligrams of salt. For seniors on diuretics or ACE inhibitors, that's a blood pressure spike waiting to happen. But sodium is child's play compared to the phosphate additives. Chicken processors inject these products with sodium phosphate to retain moisture and extend shelf life. Sounds harmless until you realize that excess phosphorus is linked to cardiovascular disease and bone loss, exactly what aging bodies don't need more of. The real horror story starts with the processing facilities. Poultry processing plants have some of the highest rates of foodborne illness contamination in the food industry. Salmonella, Campharella, and Clostridium perfringens love hanging out in chicken processing equipment. When corners get cut during canning, these pathogens can survive the heating process. Ever wonder why canned chicken has that metallic aftertaste? It's not just from the can, it's from the antibiotics and growth hormones these birds were pumped full of during their short lives. Those chemicals concentrate during processing and don't magically disappear during canning. Here's the final insult. The protein quality is garbage. The mechanical separation process damages amino acid structures, making the protein less bioavailable. You're getting fewer usable nutrients while loading up on sodium and chemicals. Fresh chicken might take longer to cook, but your body will actually recognize it as food instead of a chemistry experiment. A concerned user in Reddit highlighted the real issues. The BPA and the alternatives are particularly bad in canned food. Also, major manufacturers tend to use the leftover meat for the canning product. Check the ingredients. A chicken breast is a chicken breast. So you're getting leftover scraps plus chemical exposure. Exactly what you want in your protein source, right?
Number 4. Canned fruit cocktail, the sugar bomb disguise. That colorful medley looks like nutrition in a can. Peaches, pears, grapes, and cherries swimming in what appears to be innocent fruit juice. But what you're really looking at is dessert masquerading as health food, loaded with enough sugar to send diabetics into orbit. Let's start with the obvious assault, sugar content. 1 cup of fruit cocktail in syrup contains 29 grams of added sugar. That's over 7 teaspoons dumped straight into your bloodstream. Even the light syrup versions clock in at around 18 grams. For context, the American Heart Association recommends women limit added sugar to 25 grams per day and men to 36 grams. 1 can of fruit cocktail and you're already in dangerous territory. But here's where it gets sinister for older adults. That sugar spike doesn't just cause temporary energy crashes, it interferes with medication absorption. Blood thinners, diabetes medications, and blood pressure drugs all work less effectively when your system is dealing with sugar shock. It's like throwing a wrench into your medication's engine. The fruit itself tells a depressing story. Most canned fruit cocktail uses the lowest grade fruit, pieces that are too small, too damaged, or too irregular for fresh sales. We're talking about fruit that might not pass inspection for direct consumption, but somehow becomes good enough once it's chopped up and hidden in syrup. Those unnaturally vibrant colors aren't from nature's palette. Red dye 40 keeps the cherries looking perky, while yellow number 6 makes sure the peaches maintain their sunny disposition even after months of chemical bathing. These petroleum-based dyes have been linked to behavioral issues in children and may contribute to inflammation in adults. Here's the part that really stings. The fruit category tricks people into thinking they're making healthy choices. Diabetics reach for fruit cocktail thinking it's better than cookies, not realizing they're getting hit with more sugar than a candy bar. Seniors trying to increase fruit intake for heart health end up sabotaging their blood sugar control instead. The preservatives add another layer of concern. Sulfur dioxide prevents browning and extends shelf life, but it can trigger severe reactions in people with asthma or sulfite sensitivity, conditions that become more common with age. Want fruit? Buy it frozen or fresh. Your pancreas will stop sending you hate mail, and you'll actually taste what fruit is supposed to taste like. A nutrition-conscious user in Reddit broke down the reality. The only nutrients in canned fruits or vegetables are any oil-soluble vitamins and minerals that were there. Many water-soluble vitamins, such as B vitamins or vitamin C, are killed during the canning process. Enzymes in water-soluble vitamins and minerals are all killed at 120 degrees or above. So you're paying for sugar water with dead vitamins. What a bargain.
Number 3. Canned corned beef hash, the breakfast betrayal. That sizzling sound when canned corned beef hash hits the pan isn't the sound of a hearty breakfast, it's the sound of your arteries crying for help. This greasy, salty mess masquerading as morning fuel is basically heart disease in a can. Let's talk about what's actually in this stuff. The corned beef is often made from the lowest quality cuts. We're talking about meat that failed to make the grade for fresh sales. It's then pumped full of sodium nitrite to maintain that pink color and prevent botulism. The result? A product so salty it could preserve Egyptian mummies. The sodium content is absolutely criminal. One serving, and we both know nobody stops at one serving, contains upwards of 900 milligrams of sodium. That's before you add any salt while cooking. For seniors managing hypertension, that's like mainlining salt directly into your bloodstream. But sodium is just the warm-up act. The real villain is the saturated fat content. Canned corned beef hash contains about 10 grams of saturated fat per serving, most of it from the cheapest animal fats the processor could source. Your cholesterol levels will spike faster than a fever, and your cardiologist will start sending you Christmas cards. Here's the part that should terrify anyone over 50, the phosphate preservatives. Food manufacturers inject this stuff with sodium phosphate and other phosphorus compounds to maintain texture and extend shelf life. Excess phosphorus is directly linked to cardiovascular disease, kidney dysfunction, and bone loss, a trifecta of aging nightmares. The potatoes in the mix aren't innocent either. They're often treated with sulfites to prevent browning, which can trigger severe reactions in sensitive individuals. We're talking about breathing difficulties that can mimic heart attacks, exactly what you want with your morning coffee. And let's address the elephant in the room. This product is designed to survive nuclear winter. The shelf life on canned corned beef hash is measured in decades, not months. That level of preservation doesn't come from wishful thinking. It comes from enough chemicals to pickle your internal organs. The processing facilities where this stuff is made have some questionable standards. Meat processing plants consistently rank among the highest for foodborne illness violations. When quality control slips, you're eating contamination along with your breakfast. Want a hearty breakfast that won't require cardiac intervention? Try steel-cut oats with nuts and berries. Your heart will thank you, and you won't need a hazmat suit to prepare it. A health-conscious user in Reddit laid out the harsh reality. Corned beef is classified as a processed meat due to additives for preserving, especially nitrate. In 2015, the Cancer Division at the World Health Organization, WHO, classified processed meats as a carcinogen, something likely to cause cancer in humans. When the WHO officially labels your breakfast as cancer-causing, maybe it's time to switch to oatmeal.
Number 2. Canned ravioli, the Italian imposter. That can of ravioli sitting in your pantry isn't Italian cuisine. It's a pasta-shaped chemistry experiment that would make Nona weep. Those plump little pillows floating in orange sauce are basically edible Play-Doh filled with mystery meat and covered in sugar-sweetened tomato water. Let's start with the pasta itself. Real pasta is made from durum wheat and water. Canned ravioli pasta is made from enriched flour mixed with enough preservatives and stabilizers to survive the apocalypse. The texture isn't al dente, it's al dento, so overprocessed that it dissolves into mush before you finish chewing. The filling is where things get really scary. That beef or cheese inside each ravioli is often a mixture of mechanically separated meat, textured vegetable protein, and enough sodium to cure leather. We're talking about 800 to 1,200 milligrams of sodium per can.
more salt than your kidneys can process without throwing in the towel. But sodium is just the opening number. The sauce is basically sugar water with red dye. Most canned ravioli contains 12 to 15 grams of added sugar per serving to mask the metallic taste of overprocessing. For diabetics or anyone watching blood sugar, it's like eating candy that's cosplaying as dinner. And here's where it gets personal for older adults: the phosphorus additives. Food processors inject these products with phosphorus compounds to maintain texture and prevent separation. Excess phosphorus binds with calcium, literally pulling it from your bones while simultaneously stressing your kidneys. It's aging acceleration in a can. The artificial flavoring deserves its own horror movie. Real Italian food gets its flavor from herbs, garlic, and quality ingredients. Canned ravioli gets its flavor from a cocktail of artificial compounds designed to trigger satisfaction responses in your brain. You're not tasting food, you're tasting laboratory-designed addiction triggers. And let's talk about that orange sauce color. Natural tomato sauce ranges from red to deep burgundy. That unnatural orange glow comes from artificial coloring designed to make the product look more appealing under fluorescent lights. You're eating paint disguised as marinara. The can lining adds another layer of concern. Acidic tomato sauce is notorious for leaching chemicals from can coatings. Those BPA-free labels often just mean they switch to different chemicals that haven't been studied long enough to prove they're dangerous. Want pasta? Make it fresh, or at least buy frozen varieties without the chemical cocktail. Your taste buds will remember what food is supposed to taste like. A health-aware user in Reddit summed it up perfectly. The sodium level in stuff like that is generally off the charts. Frozens are likely better bets in terms of health, taste, and well-being. When even casual home cooks are warning about sodium overload, you know you're dealing with a processed nightmare in a can.
Number 1. Canned energy drinks, the legal speed. At the top of our danger list sits something that technically counts as a canned food, but acts more like legal poison: canned energy drinks. That innocent-looking aluminum can contains a chemical cocktail designed to hijack your nervous system and leave you crashing harder than a dropped phone. Here's what's really in that can of energy. We're talking about 80 to 300 milligrams of caffeine. That's up to 4 times the amount in a cup of coffee, delivered all at once to your bloodstream. For anyone over 45, especially those on heart medications, it's like playing Russian roulette with your cardiovascular system. But caffeine is just the gateway drug. The real assault comes from synthetic stimulants like taurine, guarana, and ginseng extracts. These aren't natural energy sources, they're laboratory-created compounds designed to override your body's natural fatigue signals. Your nervous system gets hijacked while your heart pounds like a jackhammer. The sugar content is absolutely criminal. Most energy drinks contain 25 to 35 grams of sugar, often in the form of high fructose corn syrup. That's like drinking liquid diabetes while simultaneously shocking your system with stimulants. Your pancreas goes into overdrive while your heart rate spikes, a perfect storm for metabolic chaos. Here's the part that should terrify parents and grandparents. These drinks are specifically marketed to young people, but their most dangerous effects show up in aging bodies. Older hearts can't handle the stimulant assault, older kidneys struggle to process the chemical overload, and older nervous systems can't recover from the artificial highs and crushing lows. The artificial sweeteners in sugar-free versions aren't safer, they're different kinds of dangerous. Aspartame, sucralose, and other synthetic sweeteners have been linked to neurological issues, digestive problems, and metabolic disruption. You're trading one poison for another. And let's address the addiction factor. Energy drinks are designed to create dependency through a combination of caffeine, sugar, and artificial stimulants. Your body develops tolerance, requiring larger doses to achieve the same effect. It's a pharmaceutical-grade addiction sold in convenience stores. The can itself presents unique dangers. Energy drinks are often stored in hot conditions, truck beds, car trunks, overheated warehouses.
That heat accelerates chemical leaching from the aluminum and liner, concentrating toxins into every sip. Want real energy? Try getting adequate sleep, staying hydrated, and eating actual food. Your nervous system will stop feeling like it's under chemical attack. The Cleveland Clinic's registered dietitians are sounding alarms about energy drink consumption. We know a high consumption of ultra-processed foods, specifically these stimulant beverages, has been shown to increase risk factors for heart disease, diabetes, obesity, and certain types of cancer. One nutritionist noted that after testing various energy drinks, the processed nature can often make us feel more tired, like all processed foods can, meaning you're paying premium prices to feel worse than when you started.
Safe food number 2, canned pumpkin, the Orange Guardian. Here's a can that actually lives up to its health hype. Pure canned pumpkin, not pumpkin pie filling, but plain, unsweetened pumpkin puree, is one of the few canned foods that's actually more nutritious than its fresh counterpart. Why? The canning process breaks down the tough cell walls in pumpkin, making its beta-carotene more bioavailable. You're getting more usable vitamin A from the can than you'd get from roasting a fresh pumpkin. For seniors concerned about vision health and immune function, this is like having a pharmacy in your pantry. The fiber content is extraordinary, 7 grams per half-cup serving. That's more than most people get in an entire day. For aging digestive systems that need all the help they can get, canned pumpkin is like sending in the cavalry. And here's the beauty of pumpkin's natural acidity. It doesn't need harsh preservatives to stay safe. The canning process uses the pumpkin's natural pH to prevent spoilage, meaning fewer chemicals and additives. Most pure pumpkin products contain just one ingredient, pumpkin. The potassium content supports heart health without the dangers of potassium additives found in processed foods. This is naturally occurring potassium in a form your body recognizes and can use effectively. Storage is simple, shelf life is measured in years, not days, and it's versatile enough to work in everything from smoothies to soups. Your immune system gets a boost while your wallet stays happy. A nutrition enthusiast in Reddit confirmed what experts already know. They are incredibly healthy, very rich in vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants. Also, a weight loss-friendly food, as they are low in calories. Its nutrients and antioxidants may boost your immune system, protect your eyesight, lower your risk of certain cancers, and promote heart and skin health. Finally, a canned food that actually delivers on its health promises, instead of just marketing lies. Safe food number 1, canned wild salmon, the omega powerhouse. At the top of the safe list sits canned wild salmon, a product that delivers premium nutrition in an affordable, shelf-stable package. Unlike farmed salmon pumped full of antibiotics and artificial coloring, canned wild salmon gives you the real deal. The omega-3 content in canned salmon often exceeds fresh varieties because the canning process includes the skin and small bones where these beneficial fats concentrate. You're getting EPA and DHA in their most bioavailable forms, exactly what aging brains and hearts need to stay healthy. Here's why canned salmon beats fresh for many seniors. No mercury worries. Wild salmon is naturally low in mercury compared to larger fish, and the canning process doesn't concentrate heavy metals the way it can in other seafood products. The calcium content is a hidden bonus. Those soft, edible bones provide more calcium per serving than a glass of milk, but in a form that's naturally balanced with other minerals for optimal absorption. For aging bones, it's like insurance in a can. And unlike most canned products, salmon doesn't need added preservatives. The natural oils and the canning process itself provide preservation, meaning minimal additives and maximum nutrition. The protein quality is exceptional, complete amino acid profiles that your body can actually use for muscle maintenance and repair. For seniors struggling to maintain muscle mass, canned salmon is like having a personal trainer in your pantry. Storage is foolproof, preparation is instant,
And the versatility means you can add premium nutrition to everything from salads to pasta dishes. Your heart, brain, and bones get fed while your budget stays intact. One passionate advocate in Reddit called quality canned salmon the Holy Grail. I have come to appreciate it a lot lately. I keep my fridge stocked with it. I'll either mash it up with some teriyaki, avocado, and a TSP of mayo, and it's a great high-protein, high-fat meal. But here's the critical difference. Quality matters enormously. Remember that horror story about bumblebee salmon with bones and spine pieces? That's exactly why you need boneless, skinless, wild-caught varieties from reputable brands, not the cheap stuff that includes the entire fish skeleton. When you get quality wild salmon, you're getting clean protein without the horror show. Don't let your pantry become a health hazard disguised as convenience. Hit that like button if this opened your eyes to what's really hiding in those innocent-looking cans, and subscribe so you never miss the truth about what you're really eating. Your future self will thank you for making informed choices today. Share this with anyone who still thinks all canned foods are created equal. Knowledge is the best preservative for your health.